Aloha, Rich Albertson here. This is ITS128, and this is October 8th. And I think we're going to start the chapter today on functions. So let me share my screen. Two. Okay, so here we are, 128. If we go to the overview and scroll down, we can see that we are around here. Oh, wait, check December. Oh, wait. Am I in the right? Am I still in chapter 5? This is 10:8, 10. Okay, I guess. Oh, good. We're still in chapter 5. So let's go to chapter 5, starting with 5:10. So let's go to the textbook. What happens if I just take off my... There. This is how I really look. What's that? Are we supposed to be in chapter 6, did you say?
5.2, 5.3, 5.6.
Oh.
We did last.
Oh, we did last time. Okay. So we did, okay, got it. Right. Okay, got it. Okay, so what happened? Oh, that's because, yeah, those two were, okay, so let's go to chapter 5. And 5 point, I think this is just slow because I know that I did challenges. I'm sure I did challenges. Let me go to back to here and let's go to, what did I do? I did for loops. Yes, there's check mark. Oh, didn't do that one. Okay. So let me go back to here and see if these things updated. Okay, so I did. Oh, I did that one and that one. No, that's right. Okay. Okay, so then what I didn't do is these labs. Oh, okay. I remember talking about the difference between while loops and for loops. Um, after a while, you just sort of learn how you may think you can you start by thinking maybe you can do a for loop, and then you realize you got to do something else, and it has to be a while loop, or there, a for loop is more restrictive than a while loop, because with a while loop you can the automatic incrementing and when to stop iterating and all that is sort of automatic and built into the for loop, whereas the while loop you have to do it all sort of piecemeal. And the condition here, see, so this while loop is the same as this for loop right now. See, where you start out with I equals 0, and while I is less than 100, then you do the body of statements just like this. And then at the very bottom, you increment I by 1, and then you go back up to the top, and then you do the test again. So anyway, that's that. Okay, so lab 5.8 months until payoff. So I was going to check to see if I checked the wrong thing when I left this morning. Let's see, let's go to the spreadsheet and see what this is. Chapter 5. These are functions. These are, okay, so it's just password modify print string in reverse order and brute force equation solver. Okay, so neither of these, there's not videos for either of these, it looks like. Well, let's take a look at them. I don't know why this is so something to do with my computer. I don't think so. Check 5 months until payment. Okay, so this looks like it's probably simple. Let's see. Okay, so write a program that reads a loan payment amount, and interest as inputs and outputs uh, as inputs. It reads in loan amount, payment amount, and interest rate as inputs. And then it outputs the number of payments required until the loan is paid. The interest is added to the current balance before each payment is applied. So that means first the interest is applied and then the payment is taken off. For example, if the current balance is 100, then the interest rate is 0.2. The new balance is 1.2 before a payment would be applied to that 102 amount owed. So in this here, it gives some examples. Okay, good. And so we're supposed to just type our code here. What this looks like a not. Okay, I'm gonna okay, so reads first it has to read a loan amount. I'm gonna open up my little helper here. So this one. Put that over here. And books. Eight. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so we're gonna read in the loan amount and the payment amount and the interest rate. So I'm just gonna, so I can remember this, I'm gonna be real lazy and just first I'm gonna paste this here. And I'm gonna have a variable called loan amount. And then I'm gonna have and I'm gonna read in that amount in, let's see, it's gonna be a floating point number. And I'm gonna input that number. So this is the loan amount. And then I'm gonna have a payment amount, which is how much you want to pay. And so I'm just gonna be real lazy here. And that's gonna be the same thing. So I'm just gonna copy this. And I'm gonna paste it right here. And then press enter, and now I got that. And then I'm gonna make a third variable called interest rate. And that is also gonna be a floating input. All right, so now I got my three variables. And so then now, while the loan amount is greater than 0, then the first thing first thing it tells me to do is I have to add the interest. So I would say loan amount equals loan amount times um, the interest rate, uh, and okay, this is going to give me the interest. So this is going to be the interest. So I'm going to make a new variable called interest, and I'm going to say that so that's the interest, and now the new loan amount is loan amount uh, equals loan amount plus interest. So that is the new loan amount. And and then I'm gonna say and then I'm gonna print the payment. So I guess I'm supposed to print out I'm supposed to print out the number of payments. Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, I see. How do I got it. Okay, so this thing is gonna loop. Okay, once this is done. Oh, after I compute the new loan amount, I have to subtract the payment. So now I say loan amount equals loan amount minus the payment amount. And that brings it down, that reduces it down by what the payment is. And then we're counting the number of payments, right? See, we have to output the number of payments. That's the output. So we want to count the number of payments. So let's start out by saying payments equals 0. And then here I'm going to say payments equal payments plus 1. Okay, so this counts the payments. So each time it does this payment, this is effectively the payment, or we subtract off the payment amount, makes the loan amount smaller, and then we increment the number of payments. And basically, we're going to keep on doing this loop. Okay, look, each time this loop executes, okay, assuming that the payment amount is always going to be greater than the interest. If the payment amount is less than the interest, then this loan amount is going to keep on getting bigger, right? And then this is not going to quit. But as long as the payment amount is always larger than what the interest is, then this loan amount should keep on getting smaller because you add the interest and subtract the payment, and then you increment the payments, and then at the end, all you got to do is print out the number of payments. So you can say print, and you can just say payments, quote payments. Okay. And so now when we run this, let's try running it with these numbers, 1050.03, run. And it's preparing the environment. And then it's going to come back and just be sit there. And now it's going to ask for these three numbers, 1000, and then $50 is your payment each time. And then it's 0.03, which is 3% interest. So 50. And then you got to say 0.03. And it says 31 payments. Yoo-hoo! All right, so they've got that one right. Now let's do the next one. 50, 100.02. Okay, aren't we done? Let's run this again. Let me just do this. Okay, is it waiting for me? I think so. 50. What is it again? 50, 100, 50. I see, because it'll get paid off after the first payment. So this is the loan amount is 50. The payment is $100 each time you pay something. And the interest rate is up 0.02, which is 2%, 2%. 0.02. Can you start out a number with a decimal point? One payments. One payments. Well, it's not right. It says one payment, and it should be one payment. And it output one payments. Okay, so I'm going to leave the fixing of this to you. I'm going to submit for grading and see what I get. Okay, I got 7 out of 10. Why? Because it's that extra S there. So the way to do it is once you have, when you're at this point here, when you're at this point, then you know how many payments. It's either going to be 0 payments or 1 payment or 2 payments or 3 payments and on and on. So the only time you ever just say payment is when it's 1 payment. If it's anything other than 1 payment, then you say payments. You say plural. So that should be enough for you to figure out what to do. You put an if payment is 1, then you do not this one, but you do just payment. Else, and the else would mean the payments is not 1, it means something other than 1. Then at that time you would want the payments plural. Okay, so that's the answer. That's the how to get the right answer for this one. Okay, great. Let's do the next matching strings. All right, so in this one, write a program that compares 2 strings given as input. I'll put the number of characters that match in each string position. In each string position, okay. The output should use the correct verb, match versus matches. Oh, it's the same kind of thing. So at the very end, you're going to have some number of matches. It's either going to be 1 or it's going to be some number other than 1. If it's some number other than 1, then you would output matches. And if it's just 1, then you would output match. So, and these are examples. So if I take a peek here at the correct answer, just to make sure I don't lead you astray. See. Okay, well, all right. So let's okay, so first of all, if you look here, if you input crash and crush, then the first thing it's going to do is compare the C and the C, and then it's going to compare the R and the R, and that's okay. So C and C, that's a match. R and R, that's a match. A and U, that's not a match. So now we have a total of 2 matches so far. And then the S and the S, that's a match. So that's a 3rd match. And the H and H is a match. And that's the 4th match. So you're going to output 4 characters match. Hmm? What? I see. Oh, yeah, it is right. 1 character match is right. Okay. So now here for this one, you check to see if the first one matches, and it does. Then you check to see if the second one matches, and it does. Then you check to see the third one matches, and it does. And that's it. For this one here, first you check the M and the S, no. The A and the A, yes. The L and the W, no. And then you're done. And you didn't finish the rest of the first one. You only did it for as many as there were the shortest one. This is the shortest one, so you only do the first 3. This is the shortest one, so you only do the first 3. And this is, and for this one, you only do the first 5 because apple has 5 characters and orange has 6 characters, and so you only do the first 5. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is let's read in the 2 character strings. So I'm gonna call it string 1 equals input, and it's just a plain old input. It's not float or int or anything. And then string 2 is equal to input 2 is input second input. Okay, now the first thing is let's figure out which are let's just figure out the shortest length. Okay, string 1 is going to be one length, string 2 is going to be another length. We just want to know what the shortest length is. It doesn't even really matter which one it is, because that's all we're going to do is the shortest one, no matter which one it is. So let's do I'm going to first I'm going to say string length equals the length of string 1. Okay. And then I'm going to say if the length of string 2 is less than string length. So you recognize this kind of logic where you just start by setting it to one thing, and then you just try each of them. So if we had 5 things, we would do the same thing. We'd start by setting this value equal to the length of the first one, and then after that we just check each one, and if we find one is shorter, then we set the new string length equal to that shorter one. So in this case, we're only comparing 2. So if the length of string 2 is less than the string length of this one, which is, by the way, the length of string 1, I should bring something to drink here. Then I'm going to say string length equals the length of string 2. Okay, and then now I've got the string length, and now I can just have a for loop that goes from 0 to the string length -1. All right, basically it does it that many times. It's going to do it this. It's going to look this many times at each character of the 2 strings one at a time. So I'm going to say for, and I'm going to use I for index, for I in the range of string length, I in that range. We got to start out by saying we got to say that num matches equals 0. And then in here, we're going to say if s string 1 of I is equal to string, I'll put some spaces in there because string 2 of I. If that's true, then we're simply going to increment num matches equals num matches plus 1. Okay. And that's really all we got to do, because we do it for all those, and then we're done. We can just print num matches character matches. So when we run this, let's try crash, crush, catnip. No, maul and saw. Okay, so crash and crush should test our thing. Okay, crash, crush, four character matches. Oh no, okay. So wall, oops, I'll run it again. Just run it with this. Uh saw and what was the other one? Small, man. Small. One character matches. Okay, I guess the other one was grammatically incorrect, I guess. Crash, rush. Four character matches. What? Four character matches and one character matches. What is it supposed to say? Jeez. One character matches. Oh, it's supposed to say, oh, you're supposed to say um if it's more than one, then you say characters match. And if it's only one, you say character matches. Okay, so that's the thing. See, so that's very tricky, isn't it? Okay, so I'm gonna submit this and see what I get. Did I did I get it wrong all the time? Oh, look at that. Ooh. Yeah, okay. So I got it completely wrong, but I got the number right each time. Okay. Each time I got the number right. It's just that I didn't print the right thing out. Oh, look, I got this one right. What? Why didn't I get any points? Oh, I had too much white space. What? Did I have too much white? I had too much white space in all of them. Oh, it's because of that. Well, anyway, you can fix it. Okay, got it. All right. Very good. So let's it's 226. Let's move on. So now let's move on to nest nested loops, I guess. Yeah, that's right. I remember this. All right, so nested loop just means you have a loop inside of a loop. Okay. And so you may want to do like here's an example. You want to print out all the two-letter domain names. Okay, why would you want to do that? I don't know. But so so basically what you have is you have an outside iteration and you have A and you start with A and then you go to B and then you go to C and basically for each of the first letters you have to go through all of the second letters, all 26. So A B, A C, all up to AZ. Then you start with B and you go B Z all the way to BZ all the way and then all the way up to here. So you have a while loop here for the outside letter for the first letter one. But then inside you have another loop for the inside letters. See, so this loops through all the same letters. It's the same kind of while loop. While letter one is less than Z, you start out with letter one as A, and you start out with letter two as well, it doesn't matter what letter two is because it gets set here. Okay. So you start out with letter one as A, and then that's fine. And this passes. And then you start out with letter two as A, and then while letter two is less than Z, you print the first one and the second one, and then you move the second letter to the next one, and then you go back up. Then you keep on doing this loop here. You keep on setting the second letter to the next one until it gets to Z, and then you're done with this whole thing. And then you go on and then you increment the first letter. You make the first letter the next one. And that's what that describes here. All right, so that's a loop inside of a loop. Um, a histogram, okay, so a histogram, you have a loop where you do each of the vertical lines, but then for each vertical line, you have a certain number of asterisks that you're going to print for each that vertical line. So here you're going to just print well, there must be more here. There's a 5, a 10, and a 1. Okay, so the first time it prints out 5, the next time it prints out 10, and the third time it does, and then it's done. So basically, if you were to remove, well, anyway, you can see how you can make a histogram out of this. You just don't print this middle stuff. So you would have, oh, in fact, I bet you that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to modify the loop so it does more. And so here you would just, this would be the outside loop. Uh, yeah, that'd be or whatever. And this is the loop that prints out the asterisks. So so if you want to do this, you can just say print out the number. I think if you do 5 units, I wonder if this works. Okay, first of all, I'm going to change this to this prints out 5 units, it prints out 10 units. So I'm going to change this to 0, 0, comma, num, comma, 5. Okay, so it's going to print out, well, first of all, let's confirm that this does the same thing. Yeah, yeah, 5 and 10. Now, if I do 0, comma, okay, but if I do like 20, let's do, well, let's just do the 10 here. So let's do 0, comma, 5, comma, 0, 0, 0, comma, num, comma, 5. So it's going to do every fifth one, it's going to increment, it's going to print out a asterisk. So this is just going to print out a 1 and a 2. Yeah, so if we make this, 40, 1, 2, and 8. So, all right. Follow the code. How many times does the inner body execute? So the inner body, so the this thing in the whole executes twice, and for each time this thing executes, this thing inside here executes 3 times. So it would be 6 times. See, so I is first going to be 1, then it's going to be 2. No, I is first going to be 0, then I is going to be 1. And then the inside one, first J is going to be 0, 1, and 2, 0, 1, 2. So it's going to be 6. Hope you can see that. Okay, so you can go through these. Okay, let's do this one. Enter the output of the nested loop. Okay, so count is equal to 0 for I in the range of 1, so it'd be just 0 because it's not going to be 1, it's going to be 0. And then J in the range of 5, so it's going to be 5. So 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 5 is 5. Oh, look. Let's do the middle, the number 3. Okay, so while I is less than 4, so it's going to go, this is going to be like, I starts out at 0, and here we have just I equals I plus 1. So this is the same as 4I in the range of 4. And then this is for J in the range of 3, 4, and 5. So there's 3 here, and then there's 5, and there's 3 here, and then there's 5 here. So this is good. So it's going to be 3 times 5 is 15, I think. Oh, 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 four, oh, 3 times 5 is 15. That's true, but that's not what this is. This should be 4 times, no, it should be 4 times 3. What did where did I get 5? Wait, oh, oh, did I say this was 5? Yeah, I said this was 5. It's not, it's 4. Why did I think it's 5? Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
this is 4. And this is 3. So this should be 12. Okay, so does it let me, what do I do? Do it again? Okay, this is it's different. Look. So this is 2, and this is 1. Yeah. This is 2 and this is 1. So I guess it's 2. 2 times 1 is 2. Oh, good. All right, let's see what the last one is. Oh, okay, so here we're going to go from 2 to 18. And then here we're going to go. All right, we got to figure out how many times these things loop. Okay, so I starts out at 2, and then it comes down here. It goes through, it's not equal to 18, and see 2. Okay, so this outer loop, this loop right, this whole thing here, which is what happens when this is true. This whole thing happens from actually from here to here. Okay, this whole thing happens when I is less than 18. And that's only going to happen once, because once it happens, then 2 plus 16 equals 18. And you come back up here, and it's no longer less than 18, it's equal to 8. So okay, so this thing's only going to happen once. Great. So now J equals 5, it's going to go, oh, it's going to go up by 4. So it's going to start out at 5. Um, and then when you add 4 to it, that makes it 9. And so this is only going to execute once also, isn't it? This loop is only going to execute. This block is only going to execute once, because this thing is only going to execute once, because it starts out at 5 and it passes this one. But then when you add 4 to 5, you get 9, and it's going to fail this one. All right, so this is just going to go through once. So it's going to go to it's going to print I. I is 2. It's going to print 2. And then right after that, there's no space in between there. It's going to print J, which is going to be 5. Okay. Whoa. All right. Well, hopefully you'll get the same problem. If not, at least you know how to do it. Okay, let's do this one. So here we're supposed to do given the number of rows and the number of columns, representing the number of rows and the number of columns. Write nested loops using the range function to print a rectangle shown in the example below. So 3 means it's 2 rows and 3 columns. So that means it's the rows is going to be the outer loop, and the columns is going to be the inner loop. Why? Because it prints all because the way a printer prints is it prints it prints the row and then it goes to the next row and prints the whole row, goes to the next row. So you can see that it's going to be that the 3 is going to be in the inner loop, and then it's going to go down to the next one, and that 3 is going to be in the inner loop, and it's going to go to the next one. So it's all we got to do is do this is the number of rows, number of columns, and so the outer it's 4 I in the range of num rows. Okay, so that's going to do the outer loop. Then the inner loop is going to be 4j in the range of num cols. And so this inner loop, it's going to do this inner loop thing I times. So it's going to be I rows. Inside each row, it's going to do this j thing. It's going to do this thing, num cols times. And yeah, and then this thing just prints means just go to the next line. So this should work. Yeah. All right. So this one here is, oh, we got a lot of challenges here, don't we? These are all good. Okay. Okay. We got an integer here, num rows and num columns. This is for theater seating. Complete the nested loop for each. The nested loop. Complete the nested for loop to output each seat level, as shown in the example. Each seat level is followed by a space, and each row is followed by a new line. Oh, okay. So so if the input is 2, 3, it's going to be it's going to print 2 rows and 3 columns is A, B, C. What does this do? Define the outer loop to iterate through the outer for loop to iterate through each row of the theater. Use the loop variable current row and iterate num row times. Okay. So I see num rows and num calls. Okay, so my solution is here. So first I'm going to say for current row, is that what it says to use? Yeah, current row. For current row in the range of num rows, uh, uh, for each row, do another for loop here. How do I? For um for oh, current column letter. How do I do that? Okay, I'm gonna have to. Oh, let's see what these steps give me hints. The outer loop body is initialize the current column letter as A. Oh, in the outer loop's body, or in the body of the outer loop. Okay, that's a better way to say it. So it's going to be current. Oh, there's not. We aren't going to have a. Are we not going to have a for loop? Well, I'm not going to have a for loop. So I'm going to do while uh num current column. There's got to be a current column. Okay, so I will have a for loop for current column in the range of num columns. Okay, so now I'm going to say um, current column letter, copy, paste, current column letter is equal to A. I think that's all I have to do because this is this this here is going to loop as many times as there are columns. And this is what's going to make it go from A to B. See, this is the current letter, which is capital A, and the ordinal of capital A is some number like 41 or something. And then when you add one to that, that makes it 42 or something. And then character 42 is capital B, and it just works out that way. If if whatever this is capital A, then when you take the ordinal of it and add one to it, and then take the character of that ordinal number plus one, then you get the next letter, which is B. And then so now the next letter is B, and we come back around. Oh, wait a second. This should not be there. Yeah, oh, that would have been a problem there because then it just gets set to A again, and yeah. Okay, yeah. Now let's see if this works. Oh,
Oh,
I don't think you can. Oh, oh, oh. There, that's what it should. Oh, wait a second. Oh, this should be back here. Okay, there's indentation error. All right. Does it say indentation? Still not yet. Oh, oh, hmm. Current row from 1 to num rows plus 1. How's that? Yeah, there we go. Much better. All right. Uh-oh. I didn't get that right, did I? Wait, guess that's right. Anyway, okay, let's do this one. Nested loops. You have integers start num and end num, the read from input. The inner while loop executes n num times for each iteration of the outer loop, outer while loop. Complete the outer while loop to execute start num times. Anyway, okay, so I didn't quite understand that, but I guess we just gotta make, is this a challenge? Okay. I guess we just need to make the while loop execute start num times. So we're gonna, this is the incrementer. And so while something I is, what's going on? Oh, I have to press the start thing. While I, yeah, while I is less than start num, hmm, the complete the outer loop, which executes start num times. Okay, that's it, start num. Okay, so while, okay, right. So while I is less than start num, do this and then increment I, keep on doing it, and we'll do it start num times, and then, okay, let's see if this is right. Okay, very good. Let's do the last one. You can do the middle too. Okay. What? Didn't we just do this one? Okay. On T on Tia's farm, each plant bench is labeled with a letter followed by an integer. Given integers num rows and num columns, output the label for each plant bench. Oh, okay. Well, it's the same as before. Oh, but they didn't give me anything. All right. I gotta copy this here. Excuse me. The copy. Oh, see, actually, I want to copy. Well, I'll tell you what, I want to copy this whole thing. Wait. Yeah, I'm gonna copy this whole thing. My code goes here. Have I started this thing already? Yeah. My code goes here. Okay, now we're gonna go A. The outside one is A, so I'm gonna put this one current row letter. All right, I'm gonna put I'm gonna don't worry. Current, I'm gonna call it current row letter. Is that, and then I'm gonna say current row in the range of, and I don't need to do this num rows plus one. I can just do range of num rows. And then I'm going to say current column is in the range of, here I will do from 1 to num columns plus 1, just because I want, oh, well, yeah. Okay, so current column is going to go from the range of 1 to num columns plus 1, which, okay, so from 1 to 5. And the letter thing is going to go from, so I'm going to say current row letter. And this is going to be current column. And this is going to be current row letter. So let me just go copy, paste, paste. Okay, hope you all followed that. Let's see what this, see if I get this. Ugh. What? Oh, I didn't. Oh, oh, what did I do wrong? Okay. Current row letters. Oh, wait a second. No, this shouldn't be there, should it? Should be, this should be there. How's that? No, this should be, wait, is the print statement always there? No, it wasn't. This should go there. I think this should go here. That's, wonder if this is right. Let's see if this is right. I'm starting to guess now. Oh, it's right. Okay. Well, I hope you can get the same, do the same. All right, so we've done 510. Nested loops, okay. Developing programs incrementally, then break, continue, loop else. And getting both the index and the value when looping, the enumerate function. Okay, so developing programs incrementally. Okay, so what this is um, when you're writing programs, um, you should as you write programs, you should just write a little bit of code and then run your code to see that it works. And then write a little bit of code and then run your code to see that it works. And write a little bit of code and run the code and see that it works. And do it in incremental steps. And you want to do them in as small of incremental steps as you can tolerate. Because if something doesn't work, then you know it's just going to be in that code that you just added since the last time it worked. So that's the idea. And and if you sort of know the path to get there, if you know what your code is supposed to do step by step as you get there, then coding it is just a matter of you know writing your code incrementally enough, and then making sure that each time you add some more code, you test it, and that way there should be no program that is too difficult or too complex to write, because you should always be able to break it down into steps, small enough steps. Back when I started programming, the term for that was stepwise refinement. I don't think we use that term anymore, but now incremental programming is a good term for this. So here it just shows the example of the first version echoes the input string. So here we're just reading in. So one thing you might do is put in print statements as you're coding, and then once you know that it works, you can take the print statement out. And I think that's what's going on here, where you're actually reading them all in to see if it works. And here I think what this program does is, how you used to be able to write, you used to, and I don't think does it still work? I don't think it matters anymore. Look on your phone. Okay, I still have that A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, and so on. And it used to be that back when phones first started, they thought that, so many numbers would be hard for people to remember. And I remember when I was when I was a little kid, um, I remember phone numbers like Sunset 42721, or one started with Federal, which is like FE or something. Anyway, so there were these terms that we would use to try to remember what all the numbers were, and and also like this. This is how we use it now, where when somebody types in whatever this is, 555 holiday, what's holiday? Well, holiday's got to convert to numbers. So it's going to be, whatever it is, HOL, where's the IDY, and so it's actually 4, 6, whatever. And also it turns out with these numbers is there can be some more letters and numbers afterwards, and it doesn't matter. So really it should be 555 would be, I guess, the area code or whatever it is. And then if this is a regular phone number, that would be 7 digits, but it can be, more than that. It can be Holiday Inn, where it's like when somebody is typing it in, they end up typing 3 more numbers, but that's okay because the phone knows to ignore those. And anyway, but this program It's just a program that converts those letters into what the numbers are. And this takes you through the steps, step by step, and eventually you get to the answer. All right, so that's pretty straightforward. Next, we're going to talk about 259, break and continue. Okay, so in loops, it may be that we're doing a loop and, we may be inside of a for loop, but some condition pops up when we don't have to loop anymore. And this is an example where, you're looping, you're doing this for loop, and I don't know what you're doing. You're you're adding you're adding things to a meal cost, and once you reach, you're adding these things with these for loops. But if you should happen to reach the amount of money that the user has to spend, then you don't need to do any more loops or anything. You just want to break out of there. So the break statement can help you do that, or the break statement accomplishes that. So this breaks out of the loop completely. So this is the body of this for loop. And so this break statement will break you out of this for loop and bring you down here. So the for loop is done. Okay. And then it looks like this one, if this is true, then this will break you out of this for loop here, the outside for loop, because this is in line with this. And then so this break will break you out of the for loop completely, and then you're out here. Okay, so that's break. There's another thing called continue, and continue doesn't break you out. It just breaks you it just goes to the end of the for loop, and then you go back up to the top of the for loop again, and then continue on. So continue just skips the remainder of the block of the loop. So once this, if this is true, then this continue will execute, and this is skipped, and this is skipped, and we go back up to the top again and do the next one. And same with while. So continue skips the rest of the block, breaks you out of the loop completely. And I've never used those. And back when this thing called structured programming first came about, and we had to use while loops and if statements, and you couldn't have go to anymore. There was no break and continue, because all you do is you just figure out how you end it. You would never break out of a for loop because of how you've defined. If there's something you want to break out of, then you do a while loop instead, and you put a condition in there where if something is the case, then when you go back up to the top of the while loop to test the condition, then that will kick you out. Okay, so true, structured programming, which follows the way it was originally intended, there would be no breaks or continues, but after a while they softened up and they said, well, we can throw this in there and it's not going to cause too much damage. The main thing is that it's easy to test. All right, so we are, I guess we're at the end here. So I can, so why don't you try to do these? Let me comment on the loop else. There's a loop else construct where you can have an else where it'll do something if this fails. So, and here, once the for loop is done, it'll do this when the loop completes. I've never used else, and I have trouble understanding what the difference is between that and just having it have the loop just end. But it could be like if you have a break statement, then you don't want the else. It could be that if you have a break statement that the else case won't execute. That's probably what it is. Yeah, if the loop completes normally, but if it has a break in it, it doesn't do that for case. So this will breaks you out of here. All right, well, let's see. It's after it's over. So I will end it here and I'll upload this later. You have any questions? How about you? Do you have any questions? You and back? Oh, okay. All right. Thanks for watching.